Hi, Get UNSTUCK Nation. I'm Mutita, your business operations strategist, aka the time queen from Get UNSTUCK Method. So, I know this day you are looking for hiring remote employees, outsourcing, right? But there are too many red flags. Are you success hiring one yet? Comment below, let me know. But if not, so let's talk about 7 red flags when hiring a remote employees and what to find instead. Let's get started. So these are the red flags that I think you should consider when hiring an employee. Me personally, in the past 7 years, I have been an outsourced hiring, let's say, recruiters, interview, I think more than 1,000 person already in the past 7 years, both online and offline. Not really a main job, but like as an outsource. So I have helped my client finding people to work in their company, basically, because I'm their operation strategist, right? So I'm usually be the frontline recruit to see cultural fit with that company or not at the very first stage. So I tend to know a lot of red flags. If I say no, potentially they're not a good fit before they have the second interview with a skilled interviewer next round. So very first thing I notice, we are talking about remote employee right here. So working at home. First red flag is about no internet backup or no electricity backup. Either of this. My key is that if I ask and they have no internet backup, no for me. Like at least you have to have mobile phone as a backup internet. So if they don't have the second internet backup and they're gonna work full time, no. I mean, how can you work with no internet? And if when they are interviewing with me, at least that internet is so sucked, this is not working. So that's a huge red flag, like at least during interview time. Yeah. So I would ask them to, during the interview, doing a speed test with me, both the first internet, the main one, and the backup internet, so I can send to my clients that, okay, this is attached to the candidate profile. Yeah, I really do that. So that's the first red flag. Next, slow response. And kind of like inconsistent in responding, like, hot and cold kind of like relationship. Let's see, like it's a kind of relationship that that you shouldn't be in, but you hesitate to say no. Well, when you have an employee or potential employee that they try to control the game of communication and you feel like, oh gosh, this is coming. And you feel like, okay, why we have to wait until they get back to us? This is no go for me. Like this is a red flag that I know for the fact that if I cannot control them when they're gonna respond back to me, or if I cannot control how they're gonna work with me, this working relationship not gonna success. It's not gonna be professional relationship between me and you. So that's a red flag. Goodbye. Next, working pattern. Usually a person who working inside a company, you are going to see a pattern. It maybe takes a bit of time, but it can be a good pattern or bad pattern, right? So if it's going to be a bad pattern, you're gonna notice very fast. For example, they get sick often, or they tend to wake up very late if you have a fixed schedule working space, or they tend to have the same mistake over and over again. Like these type of working patterns, these are the red flags that I notice. So if it happens over and over again, these are the red flags that I try to avoid. And if it's something that make or break the rules for me, I don't keep them. So go. Next, number 4 is they took sick leave very often. Like if they have personal issue, one of the lucky things, so this is for the personal, like my company personally, I also have my personal health issue, which I really understand. And therefore, my company have very flexible working schedule, like very, very flexible. Like we have many time zone working hours. Actually, we have no working hours at all. We just have fixed meeting hours, but the rest is totally fine. But other than that, if you have a fixed working schedule and your employee took sick leave often, either you're already aware that they have this personal health issue or you're not aware. If you are aware and you accept that, you take the risks already before you hiring them, right? So this is something that you have to take the risks and already put it on your plate since you're hiring and you sign a contract. But if not, that's a red flag that you have to make a private conversation with them that since when you're having this issue and how long do you think it's going to be? How can we make this work together working here? Something like that. It's very personal thing, so make sure that you understand. I think it's very sensitive issue, so make sure that you find a good way out. Yeah. So next, this is something that could be a very good distraction, especially on the interview date, and I have seen a lot, trust me, especially for the clients. If you prefer them to work at day nighttime, like different time zone totally, so a person would work most effectively and the most healthily way as a human is to follow the circadian clock, like follow sunrise and sunset basically. So if you require a remote team members to work at nighttime for them, and if they have small kids or they are pregnant, that is a red flag for me. Even though they are looking for a job, but I would kindly say no to them because I think they should prioritize their family first. Like that is my core value at least. I don't know about you, but this is for me. When I was younger, I didn't stay enough with my parents when I needed them the most. So I believe if I can go back time, I wouldn't let them work that hard because they cannot go back to those times when I was that little girl anymore. So whenever I see family that work so hard when their kids still very young or they are pregnant and they are looking for a job desperately, I really tell them to like take care of yourself, like, and find other ways to like keep going, you know? So like take care of yourself, like ask your husband to do instead. So that's more important to me, like really be with your kids. Yeah, so that's how I take this, like that's my value. So that's my red flag. But if you disagree with this, I'm totally fine, but this is what I suggest. So it's very important though for a child, like this is a chip on my shoulder already, at least like you don't want to regret those childrenhood because you cannot turn back those times, believe me, and they need you, you know, especially if you have like not a big home and you still have to work, even though you tell that, okay, I have headphone, I have separate room, but still you are under the same home. I'm one of the person who are very sensitive with sound. I can be in the same home with like someone speaking or someone typing when I need to sleep with the same wall even. Like I'm very sensitive. Yeah, so take it from me and just think about that. Next, this is some red flag that I think is so important, like not really taking initiative to learn about how to use software for the company. I always ask that, have you ever used this software, blah, 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 that we are using or for my client using or not? Like, for example, our company use Slack, Asana, using Loom, or if there are other position that requires extra software for them, have they ever used it? And if they say no, I'm still open for them to learn about those things as well. But if they're not taking any initiative to learn at all, like for example, after hiring already, that's also another red flag that I know that they cannot stay here for long. Because if it happened once, it will happen again. No second chance. Last one, the seventh red flag is the common sense. This part, I really use my gut to judge. Like, because I run the company, I use my common sense. I really tell you as a perspective of like decision makers. So you making decision on your behalf. I think this is something that for each company, you may have different culture inside your organization, but I want you to think of what is something that you can accept and something that you cannot. For example, if on interview date, they are not doing any research regarding to my company at all, and they just show up and just improvise everything, I already think that they're not interested in this role. They just show up for that. That's a common sense for me to prepare. That's it. That's like, I do interview, I'm very polite, I have a manner, but I know that they're not interested enough. So these are small things that I think these are the red flags to hiring remote employees, at least. And on the other hand, what you actually need to find in someone. So opposite to those 7 red flags, you want to have someone who prepare to work with you. I know that it may not easy, but doesn't mean there are no one who prepare. Everyone wants to have a job. Everyone wants to find security in their life. They want to earn. They want to have experience. They want to learn from someone or having connection even. So if they are prepared for the roles that you are open for or that they are apply for and they keen to study for the company background, that's kind of interesting to work with because you having an employee inside the company, even though they're outsourced, you have to invest time, heart, and energy and money into them as well. There are learning curve both sides between you and employee. So that is one thing that you need to find, someone who interested to work with you. But you will know pretty soon that they really interested or they fake. Yeah. Next one is they need to know the basic role of what they apply for. So you need to set the expectation very clear front end once they are on the interview and once they onboarded. And you also will see on the first task, I say first task, how they perform. And you will see as well on the second task, how they could go further. Not so long. You can hire slow and fire fast all the way, but to promote even faster. Then this is something that I learned from one of my podcast guests is to ask them to explain things in a step-by-step way. This is such a good skill that I learned that is so important. It doesn't matter where you graduate or how you graduate or what you graduate, but if you are kind of person that you can explain things step 1, 2, 3, 4, like how your thought process things in a step-by-step way that you could convey message to others clearly, you can work very easy with others. And that's how I want to see in a person who work with me inside the company, because that's how I can train them easy and how they can train other people easy as well. And the next one is that I'm looking for someone who have patience in working with others. I don't want someone who have like a hot head all the time, and someone who can work okay independently and work okay with others as well. Like know how to ask and demand work from other people, because you are not working alone all the time. This day, I tend to go to person that like not a great performers, but kinder hearted, because I want to work with peace environment that grow together instead. And that's kind of company that I want to like wake up and work every single day. So these are the 7 red flags and to find a remote team members and what to find instead. So hope you get the ideas of how I have been recruiting and what I have learned so far. Maybe there are more, but this is so far that I have learned and what I have been doing. What about you? Comment below. And in case you want to build and design your lifestyle business and you just like, oh man, it's just too hard to do, just book a discovery call with us. Link in the description below. Yeah. And as usual, let's get unstuck.